Thank you kindly, Mr. Speaker. I yield myself such time as I may consume. This week, we welcome thousands of law enforcement personnel to Washington for National Police Week. We remember officers who lost their lives in service to our communities and our country, and we thank all officers who work to keep us safe while reflecting on how we can invest in law enforcement to better serve our communities. Mr. Speaker, I rise to strongly support this resolution because we strongly support our local law enforcement officers. But we also strongly support our state, federal, and tribal law enforcement officers as well. Why are these brave officers not part of this resolution? This is a strange development. In the last Congress, the 118th, we passed House Concurrent Resolution 40 to honor local law enforcement and House Resolution 363 in 2023 to recognize the police lives lost that year and the importance of funding and supporting all law enforcement, federal, state, county, and local, followed by House Concurrent Resolution 106 and House Resolution 1213 in 2024, which did the same. But this year, the majority has chosen to have us solely recognize local law enforcement. Why is that? What explains this strange omission of the federal police officers who serve us? With President Trump back in office, the majority apparently now sees fit to honor only local officers and not the federal law enforcement officers who fought so valiantly to protect every member of this body and the Senate, our staffs, and our democracy on January 6, 2021. Apparently, their commitment to backing the blue is so weak that they now won't even mention federal officers because they have to maintain the pretense that Capitol officers did something wrong by defending us against the violent rampage of the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, the Three Percenters, and other extremist marauders who stormed the U.S. House of Representatives and the Senate. Is that right, or will the majority please prepare a resolution honoring federal law enforcement as well that we can bring to the floor? This is one troubling sign among many of an ideological abandonment of our federal law enforcement officers. And there are more than 137,000 of them, not just the Capitol Police. Speaker Johnson still refuses to hang a simple plaque honoring those officers as is required by federal law. The bill mandating the creation and placement of the plaque, H.R. 2471, was signed into law on March 15, 2023, and the plaque was supposed to have been erected within 1 year of that, March 15, 2024. The plaque is finished, it's ready to be placed, and it looks like this. If you could hold it up. It reads, let's see, on behalf of a grateful Congress, this plaque honors the extraordinary individuals who bravely protected and defended the symbol of democracy on January 6, 2021. Their heroism will never be forgotten. Well, it seems it's already being forgotten by the GOP majority, or at least they want us to forget it. Are my friends so captive to conspiracy theories and revisionist fantasies about January 6th that they will not do the bare minimum to honor the police officers who fought tooth and nail to protect every person in this room who was there, including members on my side of the aisle, including members on the other side of the aisle? The people we are failing to honor by not hanging this plaque include at least 140 police officers who were beaten with poles, bats, American flags, Trump flags, Confederate battle flags, their own shields. These are people who lost fingertips. They suffered concussions, broken jaws, broken ribs. They had heart attacks and strokes. They sustained multiple other violent injuries and suffer from them, many of them to this day, in one of the worst days of injuries for law enforcement officers in the United States in this century. Well, this affront is now adding further symbolic insult to the grievous injury that began at the beginning of this administration. President Trump granted full pardons to more than 1,500 insurrectionists and rioters and commuted the sentences of the right-wing extremists who spearheaded the attack on this chamber and on the police officers who defended us. more than 600 of those defendants, whose pardons are full, complete, and unconditional, were charged with assaulting or obstructing law enforcement officers. And now President Trump, backed by his own Justice Department, thinks that the violent insurrections should be compensated. And not the police officers, but rather the people who perpetrated this assault on America. And I quote, President Trump said, "A lot of the people in the government really like that group of people." He is creating a compensation fund, not for the officers and their families who fought and suffered, and several died to save our democracy, but for the domestic terrorists, as leaders of the Republican Party described them at the time, who tried to destroy it. That's the decision to cast his lot with the Proud Boys and other extremists that he incited on that day. Many of the officers who served on January 6th feel betrayed by the officials whose lives they saved that day. Take former U.S. Capitol Police Sergeant Aquilino Gonell, who was nearly crushed to death on January 6th. Sergeant Gonell was an Army veteran from the Iraq War and was upholding his oath to defend and protect the seat of our nation's government. He said he saw violence on that day here at the Capitol far worse than anything he experienced fighting for America abroad. And despite the fact that he and many other officers nearly lost their lives and now face lifelong injuries that have forced him out of the line of police work, they still cannot get approved for public safety officers' benefits, which provide disability benefits to officers catastrophically injured in the line of duty. As Sergeant Gonell recently told my staff, Trump is treating the rioters like they were the ones defending the Capitol. He noted that at every turn, when Republicans could honor the bravery of law enforcement officers that day, they've instead chosen to do nothing. Of course, if my colleagues across the aisle want to focus on local law enforcement, then I might ask why we are simply honoring them with this concurrent resolution and not taking more meaningful action, like restoring millions of dollars in federal grants that help support them that were recently terminated by the Department of Justice at the direction of Doge and Elon Musk. Those grants supported programs like the Rural Violent Crime Reduction Initiative, which delivered financial assistance directly to dozens of rural law enforcement agencies across America and allowed agencies to upgrade technology and equipment, hire and deploy personnel, support victim services and crime prevention programming, and fill in other gaps in policing for small, rural, underfunded police agencies. We should be grateful for all of our officers, federal, state, county, local, who help keep us safe while people are in their communities, while members of Congress come to Washington, D.C. We should be grateful for all of them. Let's join together to uplift all law enforcement officers, whether they are local or state, tribal, or federal, and let's support them symbolically with our words, but more importantly, with our actions. Let's restore all of the funding, the hundreds of millions of dollars that have been cut or that face cuts by this new administration. Thank you. I reserve the balance of my time, Mr. Speaker.